The Lost Love. The wind whipped through the trees, creating eerie symphony that resonated within the lonely of Alex's car. Snowflakes danced in the air, their delicate beauty transforming into a formidable force in the midst of the raging winter storm. It was a night that most people would wisely spend indoors, wrapped in the comfort of their homes, but Alex craved adventure, even in the face of danger. He had always been a seeker, a dreamer with a free spirit that refused to be bound by mundane routines. And so, with a desire for solitude and a heavy heart that needed solace, he embarked on a journey through the desolate countryside. As he navigated his car along the treacherous roads, Alex's heart pounded in his chest, partly due to the trepidation of the storm, and partly due to the lingering sadness that seemed to follow him wherever he went. The wipers strained against the onslaught of snow, briefly revealing the desolate landscape that stretched out before him. It was a world of stark beauty and haunting silence, a place where the ephemeral nature of life was magnified. Suddenly, in the distance, Alex caught sight of a figure through the haze of falling snow. A woman, her form indistinct and ethereal, stood at the edge of the road, her arms outstretched towards him, as if beckoning him closer. Fear and confusion gripped Alex's heart, his foot hesitating on the gas pedal. Was he hallucinating in the forlorn depths of the storm, or had he stumbled upon something otherworldly? Summoning every ounce of courage, he stopped the car and rolled down the window, allowing the cold winter air to seep into the warmth of the cabin. "Who are you?" he called out, his voice carried away by the howling wind. The woman turned towards him, her eyes glittering with an ethereal light. "My name is Eleanor," she said, her voice a haunting melody that held both sorrow and longing. "I have been waiting for you." The words hung in the air, swirling around Alex like snowflakes caught in a gust of wind. Confusion mingled with a strange sense of familiarity, as if he had known Eleanor in a past life. "Waiting for me," he stammered, his voice barely audible. Eleanor nodded, her expression a mix of sorrow and hope. "I exist in the realm between the living and the dead," she explained, her voice quivering with an otherworldly resonance. "I have longed for companionship, for someone who could see beyond the veil that separates us." Gently, Alex reached out a trembling hand, his fingertips grazing Eleanor's translucent form. Goosebumps prickled his skin, his breath quickening in the cold night air. He was torn between fear and an inexplicable desire to connect with this spectral figure. Days turned into weeks as Alex and Eleanor spent their nights driving through the storm, chasing shadows and lost memories. The boundaries between their worlds blurred, as each immersed themselves in the enigmatic presence of the other. They spoke of dreams and heartache, of loves lost and lives unlived, for the linearity of time seemed irrelevant as they traversed the lonely roads of the infinite winter. Their connection evolved from tentative companionship to a profound love that transcended the boundaries of existence. Alex found solace in Eleanor's melancholic beauty, in the way her translucent form shimmered in the moonlight, her eyes reflecting the depths of longing and the fleeting nature of life itself. And Eleanor, for the first time, felt the warmth of a human touch, the bittersweet joy of loving unconditionally. But as the storms raged on, a sense of impending loss settled within Alex's soul. He knew that his time with Eleanor was ephemeral, that their connection was bound to fade with the passing of the storm. And yet, he couldn't bear the thought of losing her. On the night when the storm reached its crescendo, snowflakes as big as feathers seemed to descend from the heavens, engulfing Alex's car in a blinding white blanket. As he held Eleanor's ethereal form close, whispering words of love into the empty night, he felt a sudden warmth radiating from her chest. In that moment, the realization hit him like an avalanche. Eleanor was fading, her energy dissipating into the universe like traces of smoke. Tears welled up in Alex's eyes as he tightened his grip on her fragile form, as if trying to capture the essence of their connection before it disappeared forever. "I love you," he whispered, his voice breaking with the weight of his emotions. Eleanor smiled, an ephemeral glow surrounding her as she embraced Alex for the last time. "Love is a force that transcends time and space," she murmured, her voice fading into the howling wind. "Our connection was meant to be, even if it could never last." And with those words, Eleanor vanished, leaving Alex alone in the throes of the winter storm. The car became his solitary sanctuary once more, the silence of the night broken only by the sound of his heavy sobs. As time passed, the imprint of Eleanor's presence remained etched upon Alex's soul, a bittersweet reminder of the power of love and the significance of ephemeral connections. And though he would never forget the despair of that fateful winter storm, he found solace in knowing that somewhere, beyond the mortal realm, Eleanor's spirit continued to exist, forever entwined with his own. Frostbound Melody, A Winter's Haunting. Once upon a bitter winter's night, the small town of Frostville lay cloaked in a thick blanket of snow. The narrow streets glistened under the pale glow of the moon, and the cold wind whispered eerie secrets through the skeletal branches of the trees. The townsfolk, nestled in their homes, were oblivious to the spectral tale that unfolded that fateful night. In the heart of Frostville lived a man named Samuel, a solitary soul who found solace in long drives through the wintry landscapes. He owned a vintage car, a relic from a bygone era, its headlights casting an otherworldly glow on the icy roads. Samuel was known for his love of solitude, and the desolation of winter nights provided the perfect backdrop for his contemplations. One frigid evening, with the snowflakes dancing in the air like ethereal spirits, Samuel decided to embark on a journey that would take him beyond the familiar boundaries of Frostville. The car rumbled to life, and its tires crunched against the fresh snow as Samuel steered onto the winding roads that disappeared into the icy wilderness. As he drove deeper into the wintry abyss, the silence of the night enveloped him like a shroud. The only sounds were the muffled hum of the engine and the occasional creaking of the branches overhead. Samuel's breath hung in the air, a visible testament to the bone-chilling cold that gripped the landscape. The road stretched ahead like an endless ribbon, winding through frosted valleys and beneath ancient, skeletal trees. The moon cast long shadows, creating illusions of ghostly figures that seemed to dance at the edge of Samuel's vision. Unfazed, he continued his solitary journey, his only companions the haunting whispers of the winter wind. As he drove deeper into the wilderness, the car's headlights revealed a dilapidated structure in the distance. Intrigued, Samuel slowed down and approached the eerie silhouette of an abandoned mansion. The once grand edifice stood like a silent sentinel, its windows shattered and its facade bearing the scars of time. Compelled by an inexplicable force, Samuel parked his car and approached the mansion on foot. The crunch of snow beneath his boots echoed through the desolate surroundings. The air felt heavy with the weight of forgotten memories, and a strange energy lingered within the decaying walls. The creaking door swung open with an otherworldly groan, inviting Samuel into the darkness within. As he stepped into the mansion, a chill ran down his spine. The air was thick with the scent of ancient wood and lingering whispers of a bygone era. The flickering candlelight cast dancing shadows on the faded wallpaper, creating an illusion of life within the stillness. Samuel wandered through the silent corridors, each step echoing like a distant heartbeat. The mansion seemed to come alive with spectral murmurs, as if the walls retained the memories of a long-forgotten past. The ghostly presence grew stronger, enveloping Samuel in a realm where time held no sway. In a forgotten room, Samuel discovered an old piano, its keys coated in a layer of dust. A gentle melody, haunting and melancholic, emanated from the instrument as if played by unseen hands. Mesmerized, Samuel felt the presence of a ghostly pianist, lost in the eternal echo of a bygone symphony. The temperature plummeted, and Samuel's breath hung in the frigid air as he witnessed the ethereal manifestation of a long-lost soul. The ghostly figure, draped in tattered garments, swayed to the spectral melody, its eyes filled with a melancholy longing that transcended the boundaries of time. Unable to tear himself away, Samuel became an unwitting spectator to the ghostly performance. The air pulsated with a sorrowful energy, as if the mansion itself wept for the forgotten tales that lingered within its walls. The ghostly pianist's fingers danced on the keys, invoking emotions that resonated with the echoes of a tragic past. As the last haunting note faded into the stillness, the ghostly figure turned toward Samuel, its eyes locking onto his. In that moment, a profound connection bridged the gap between the living and the spectral. The ghost spoke without words, conveying a tale of love lost, of promises broken, and of a soul condemned to linger in the shadows of the past. Suddenly, the temperature in the room returned to normal, and the ghostly presence dissipated like morning mist. Samuel found himself alone in the abandoned mansion, the echoes of the ghostly melody lingering in the air. The winter night outside had not lost its bitter edge, but within the mansion, a profound warmth had been kindled, an understanding that transcended the boundaries of the living and the dead. Haunted by the spectral encounter, Samuel retraced his steps through the silent corridors and emerged into the wintry night. The vintage car awaited him, its headlights cutting through the darkness like beacons guiding him back to the familiar streets of Frostville. As Samuel drove away from the abandoned mansion, he couldn't shake the feeling that the ghostly pianist's melody lingered in the air, whispering tales of love and loss through the frost-laden trees. The winter night held its secrets close, and Samuel carried with him a spectral symphony etched into the fabric of his memories, an otherworldly encounter that transcended the realms of the living and the dead.